Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, it is time for another tactics video. Today's tactic, we're going to look at something that has zero goal difference on the FM Arena website. It is the Penguin 4-3-1-2 by Anarchy138. A link for this will be down in the description below. We'll have a quick look at the tactic on the screen before we get into the game. It is a 4-3-1-2, two Mazzalas on attack on either side, a ball winning midfielder in the centre of the midfield, two ball playing defenders, two wing backs on support, sweeper keeper on defence, shadow striker on attack, a false nine and an advanced forward on attack. Positive mentality, play out of defence, low crosses, work the ball into the box, extremely high tempo, fairly narrow, roll it out, distribute to centre backs, counter press, and then out of possession, force opposition outside, much high line of engagement, trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and use the offside trap. We're going to get into it now. We're going to see in the game. We're going to give it to 5 or 6 teams, and we're going to see how this tactic does. And the first team we're going to try this with in this tactic video is Paris Saint-Germain, and we're going to quickly look at their results right now. Paris Saint-Germain, 35 wins out of 38 games, 2 draws, 1 defeat, 102 goal difference. Absolutely smashed it. Champions League, let's have a quick look at that. They got into the first knockout stages. They beat Benfica 4-2. Quarterfinals, they drew 2-2 with Liverpool. They got knocked out on penalties to Liverpool, 2-2 there. Just looking at that P there, I was trying to work out which side had won there. Won the French Cup, beating Brest 6-0 in the final, 3-0, 4-0 here at the back end of the season. Let's have a look how this formation played out. They go to the Angers game where they won 5-1. We're going to load that up now and have a look if it's going to do that for me. Here we go. So we're going to move it into 2D and we're going to have a look from overhead and have a look at how this tactic plays out. So let's move it into 2D. Let's just move it a little bit quicker. And so Hakimi down the right, Wijnaldum into the box, crossing from the right hand side, tapped in at the near post. Not sure how much of the formation you're actually going to see. And just got a goal back actually, so it was 1-1 in this game. Next goal was a long throw in, so that must be part of the tactic as well. Long throw in, Icardi at the far post to tap that in. Again, another long throw in. Is this the way this tactic is set up for these long throws? Ball into the far post. Icardi heads it in at the far post. Right, we'll have a goal from open play now. Neymar, ball over the top for Icardi, inside right channel. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. That's a hat trick for him. And it seems to me that, and then Icardi for his 4th from the penalty spot in the 93rd minute. You can't really get a good gist of what they've done here. Let's have a look at this 4-3 victory over Milan in the Champions League, and we'll have a look and see if we can get a better understanding of how this tactic is actually working. If not, we'll have to look at a different team, because at the minute PSG just look dominant. So in this game now, we've got the 3 centre backs sat there. The fullback there on the left hand side was sat very, very narrow. Goal there for Frank Kessie, opening the scoring. So now as they pick up Danilo, Messi's dropped deep to collect it out to the left side of Mendes. He's forward inside left channel into the box. No one's picking him up actually. That's a good finish across the goalkeeper. So if we pause it here, so Messi's come deep to collect the ball again. You've got 5 players sat there in the box. Danilo's in there. Kimpembe, Wijnaldum, Icardi's just there in an offside position. Again, as they come deep here, the man out here on the right hand side, this should be the right fullback, I'm guessing. Yes, Sergio Ramos, with acres of space to be able to take the ball down and get the cross in. And a simple tapping for Icardi once again on the score sheet. I'm just trying to break it down. So this is again another attacking. So you've got Sergio Ramos and Kimpembe, who I believe are the back two. So then your left back would be Mendes. The right back pushed up there is Marquinhos. 3 central midfield. It's not the 3 central midfielders all sat there. You've got Messi, Wijnaldum, and Paredes all sat very narrow, very close together in the centre of the pitch. So a lot of space here for Kessie in the centre of the park if they were to use him. Wijnaldum, Messi, Icardi into Mbappe, who gets away from his man. Great finish across the goalkeeper. The midfield 3 are very narrow, very close together, it seems, in this formation. Another penalty one here, Icardi putting that one in there. as this end of the game looks very hectic. Again, very narrow sat in Marquinhos on that right hand side, sat very narrow. Obviously the left full back there, Theo Hernandez, got a lot of space to run into there. You've also got Krunic, who's got a lot of space in the centre of the park, 35 yards out. So it is affording a lot of space for the opposition players. As Maldini wins the ball there, Rebic had space. Krunic, who I mentioned earlier on, actually scores the goal, left in a lot of space, being able to find the back of the net. This is going to be a free kick, so not really going to read too much into this. It seemed to be just a lofted free kick. Didn't seem to be a lot of pace on that, but so if you just look now, Mendes is the left back, Marquinhos is the right back, so both of them leaving a lot of space in front of them. Obviously, no wide players. Wijnaldum, Danilo, Paredes in the three central midfield roles. Messi was dropping very deep. He's a shadow striker as well, so he was dropping very deep. Neymar and Mbappe, I didn't see a lot of Neymar in that game actually, so where the second striker was, I'm not entirely sure, but you can see there, it does leave a lot of space for the opposition wingers to get in behind. But they're overloading that centre of the pitch. The three central midfielders, as I've said, just very, very narrow. Some really good results if we just put them by result order. An 8-1 against Monaco, 7-0, 6-1, 6-1. Not many goals conceded. A couple here, well, 3 against Milan, 3 against Strasbourg, 2 here against Sporting, 2 against Benfica, 2 against Lens, 1 in these games here. It's a couple of 2-0s, a couple of 2-1 defeats here against Sporting, Benfica and Liverpool, all 2-1 defeats, all narrow defeats, 1-0 defeat to Met. Those are the only games they've lost all season. Yeah, 4 games lost all season, all by a single goal. So this tactic doing an absolute wondrous job here for PSG. Absolutely smashing it in the league, winning a domestic treble. Not exactly firing on all cylinders in the Champions League, but a good enough job done. And I think this tactic, for its 0 goal difference, has done a world of a job here at PSG. Next up, we are at Newcastle United in the Premier League, predicted to finish 7th. They have finished in 7th. They have hit their mark, 15 goal difference, 30 goal better difference than Southampton, who were placed below them in 8th. They make the Europa Conference League, 17 wins from 38, so won just under half of their games. Let's have a quick look through their schedule as well. In Carabao Cup 4th round, victory of Man United. They beat Brentford in the quarter-finals, and then they lost in the semi-finals on penalties to Everton. So, not a bad little run. FA Cup, they were knocked out in the 3rd round, 4-0 by Leeds. I mean, if you take away this sort of run of form here in February and March, where they didn't win a game, 4 defeats and 1 draw, the draw against Brentford, they may have been able to make a Europa League place. Maybe a Champions League place, too far gone there. But definitely, they've just done what was expected of them. Alan Saint-Maximin with 18 goals. I thought with how well PSG did with that 1 defeat that maybe this would be successful for a team like Newcastle, but obviously not. We go down, just look at how some of their players got on. Saint-Maximin 21 goals in all competitions. Wilson got 18 goals in all competitions. Bruno Guimaraes got 12 assists in all competitions as well, and their best player was Kieran Trippier, 7.43, Callum Wilson 7.31 as well. So not as much success with this as I thought there was going to be. I've got to be honest, I thought with Newcastle, with the money that they had, and they still have 219 million in the bank. Obviously, no signings are made because I am the manager, so just it goes through with the side that they've got. But I just thought they would have a better season than that. Obviously not. 7th place finish. We're going to do one more team in England for now, and then we're going to start looking around the continent. Next up, we're going to look at Blythe, who are predicted to finish bottom of the Vanarama National League North, I believe. Just going to get it up. So they are, yeah, I believe it's the North, isn't it? So let's just have a look where they finish in this simulation. This simulation, they finish in 21st, 36.7 wins. Let's have a look how they get on with this formation. So we are at Blythe Spartans, and let's have a quick look. And they have won the league, 26 victories from 42 games, 10 draws, only 6 defeats. Those coming to Telford, Boston, Kettering, Chorley, Farsley and AFC Telford. But What a turnaround that is. They got into top spot sort of midway through the season here, and they just held on out for the rest of the season. Brilliant performance. Fourth qualifying round defeat to Chesterfield and a fifth round defeat to Gateshead in the English FA Trophy. No one really got a lot of goals. Sean Reid got 13 in the league, 20 in all competitions from central midfield as well. 11 assists, third top assist maker. Sorry, Michael Liddell got 24 assists. JJ O'Donnell got 13 goals and 14 assists. And their best player was Michael Liddell with those 24 assists, 7.76 rating. And just look through some of their results. I mean, they didn't start particularly great. Couple of victories, couple of defeats, win, draw, couple of wins, draw. You know, a bit hit and miss. Nothing that says they're going to be top of the league, title contenders. And then they hit December here, and they go on an unbeaten run from the end of November, 20th of November. They go on an unbeaten run all the way through till around Valentine's Day in February. A lot of victories, just the 4 draws in there as well. And then after that defeat, again, another unbeaten run for the majority of February, all of March, and then the start of April. So as you see here, and again, 2 defeats on the spin, but then they go again and absolutely smash their way through the end of the season, unbeaten in the last 6 games, 4 wins, 2 draws. So they did absolutely fantastic. If you just look at the results, a 6-0 victory, they won 5-3. They lost 4-2 to Chesterfield there, 4-1, 3-1. Again, a couple of narrow defeats here. That 3-1 was a friendly. We're just going to take out the friendly games so we can just have a look at the league games. So a few 1-0s here where they just got nipped to it. A 2-1 defeat to Farsley where they got nipped out. 3-1, 4-1 was a big defeat there to Chorley, and a 4-2 to Chesterfield in the FA Cup 4th qualifying round. Apart from that, they weren't beaten comfortably by anybody. There was a few big results for them as well. 5-3 here over Leamington in the league. 5-2 over Guiseley, 5-1 over Malden and Tiptree. It's interesting because obviously with PSG they were expected to finish first. They finished first by winning 35 of the 38 games. Newcastle finished exactly where they were expected to, and Blythe, who were expected to finish bottom, have finished in first place. So that is very, very incredible. The different definitely seems like an underdog tactic. Definitely seems like it may be a lower league tactic rather than a top flight tactic. We're going to try with another top flight team. This time we're going to go to Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie. And let's just have a quick look at how they finished up in this simulation. It looks as if they've finished in second place. Yeah, second place, 22 games, 1 out of 34. So let's have a look how they get on with this formation. So here we are over in Feyenoord, and let's have a look. They have actually finished worse off. They've won more games. They've won 3 more games, 25 out of 34 rather than the 22 last time. But better performances from PSV and Ajax mean that they finished 3rd in the league table. 5 defeats to PSV twice, to Ajax once, to AZ Alkmaar and to Willem. Again, looking at their defeats in the league, 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal, and then 2 goals there against PSV. So it looks as if they're just getting nipped out to a lot of results. We look at some of their best results. The 7-1, it's a friendly, so let's just move the friendlies out of here. So their top results, 3 6-0 victories over Canberra, HJK and NEC. They beat FH in the Conference League as well, 5-2. Beat Willem 5-1. Beat Vojvodina 5-0 in the Europa Conference League. RKC 4-2. Utrecht 4-2. So they've been scoring a lot of goals again. A lot of defeats just by the odd goal, apart from that one against PSV here where they lose 4-2. In a game where they got 2 goals in the first half, they were 2-1 down, they were 3-2 down, and then Carlos Vinicius got a goal on about the hour mark to make it 4-2, and that was all she wrote in that game. So it's very interesting to see here. Predicted to finish 3rd, they did finish 3rd. They finished 2nd in the simulation before where they didn't use this formation, but they scored less points. So it's a very, very odd thing here. We just look, they won the Becker Cup, the KMVB Cup. They beat PSV in the final there, 3-1. So they got a measure of revenge there. Competition that they won back in the 2017-2018 season. As for Europa Conference League, they got to the semi-finals and got beaten by Spurs 4-2 on aggregate. Lost the away leg 2-0, drew 2-2 at home, went out 4-2 on aggregate. So it wasn't a bad season all in all. A semi-final of European competition. the winners of the League Cup and third in the league getting a Europa League place. So they got a Europa League place? Yep, for finishing third. I don't know if that was for winning the cup or for just finishing third, but they get 79 points, 19 points clear of Utrecht. We're going to look over now to Germany. We're going to pick the lowest ranked team in Germany, who are Gruther Fair. If I can spell that right, I believe. There we go. So they finished in 16th in the Bundesliga. They stayed up after beating Fortuna Dusseldorf. So, can they do any better than that with this formation? 26 points from 34 games. Let's have a look at SPVGG Gruther Fair in the Bundesliga in Germany. We're in Germany now, and let's have a look. And wow, that hasn't gone well. 5 victories in 34 games. So, apparently it works for the team predicted to finish bottom of one of the lowest leagues in England, but for the top league in Germany, it doesn't work. 5 victories, wins against Mönchengladbach, Eintracht Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Bochum, and Hertha Berlin. They beat Bochum 7-2. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt 4-1, but 21 defeats. Massive defeat against Bayern there, 2-1 against Cologne, 2-1 against Augsburg, 4-2 against Dortmund. The 8 draws as well. Number of 1-1s and 2-2s there. Very surprised, actually. Very, very surprised. If we look at the stats for the players, so Harvard Nilsson got 15 goals in 38 games. Branimir Hrgota got 14 goals. So between the top goal scorers, they got 29 goals in all competitions. You'd have thought that may have been enough to keep them up. Assists were spread out quite nicely. Jetro Williams getting 8, Julian Green getting 7, Branimir Hrgota getting 6. He was the only player to average above a 7 this season. So they just didn't turn it on. I mean, if we just look at the league season, we'll just look at the league here. So they started off, they drew against Stuttgart, so maybe they thought their luck was in. Then a 5-2 defeat, a 3-1 defeat, a 2-1 defeat to Wolfsburg, beat Hertha Berlin, and then another run of games where they lose 5-1 to Munich, 4-0 to Cologne, beat Bochum 7-2, which is a freak result considering. Then they didn't win another game then from, that was the 16th of October, down till the 8th of January, where Harvard Nilsson got a double where they beat Stuttgart, and again, win that, and then they lose for all of February, all of March, the rest of January there, and then they get back-to-back wins against Eintracht Frankfurt and Mönchengladbach, and maybe at this point they thought their luck was starting to turn around, because then they drew against Hoffenheim, drew against Bayer Leverkusen, drew against Union Berlin, but by that point they would have been gone. They lost the last 2 games of the season. Yeah, so if you look at that, so in the month of April they scored 6, 8, 9 points in the month of April. Before that point, they would have only had 14 points. They would have been well away from Arminia and Stuttgart, who were above them. So it only looks as close as it is because they had such a good run in the month of April. Even if they had continued that for the last 2 games in May, it still wouldn't have made any difference. They still would have only finished with 29 points at the most. So they still would have been rock bottom of the league. And that is a massive, massive surprise. I thought with how well Blythe had done with it, I thought a team in the top league of another nation could succeed with it, at least finishing the top half of the table. It isn't to be here. So disappointing. I almost want to check that they've used the formation. Yeah, they have. Just hasn't worked for them. This game here where they lose 5-2, they've created a lot of chances. 14 shots, 7 on target, only getting the 2 goals. Not too much fewer than what Armenia created. 17 shots, 11 on target for them. They actually had a better XG in that game as well, just conceding a lot of goals. I just want to look at one more thing. I want to look at how many goals the goalkeeper conceded. Andreas Lind in this season conceded 88 goals. Now I wonder how much of that is down to the goalkeeper. I'm just going to have a quick look. We're going to pick some random games out here. So we're going to pick out the game against Union Berlin where they conceded, whatever, if I click the right screen, where they conceded 4, lost 4-3. We're just going to look at the XG of this. So, again, they out-XG'd them 1.91 to 1.63. Union Berlin had 6 shots on target, scored 4 goals, whereas Gruther Fürth had 7 shots on target and scored 3 goals. So teams were just a lot more clinical against them. We'll look at Munich, they would have been destroyed by on the stats, I imagine. Freiburg, they lost 3-2 against. And again, out-XG'd another team. So The defense is just weak. Jung plays a 6.3 here. I don't get. They've played well in some of these games we've just looked at. We've picked out randomly. They just haven't managed to get over the line with any result. And Andreas Lind actually played a 6.9. So for his 88 goals conceded, it's not like he's played a low rating. You look at some of the defensive players. Griesbach played a 6.54 defensive midfielder. Meyerhofer played a 6.57, a right fullback. Gideon Young played a 6.6. He is a centre back or defensive midfielder. Max Christensen is a defensive midfielder. He played 6.64. Simon Asta is a defender as well, 6.66. So is Nick Viergera, 6.66. Maximilian Bauer played 6.76. So maybe it's down to the defence more than the goalkeeper. Looking at this, it looks like the goalkeeper's kept them in more often than not. This was going to be my last simulation with this formation, but we're going to do one more because it's such a disappointing end to it. So we're going to pick Arsenal, who are predicted to finish in 3rd or 4th, I believe it is, in the Premier League. We'll just look at how they've got on in this simulation. And I wonder whether they have enough to win the league. They've actually finished 9th in the Premier League in this simulation, behind Tottenham, behind Villa, behind West Ham. 15 games won from 38 games, 55 points. So let's have a look if this formation can produce any more success with Arsenal. So at Arsenal here, and the first thing to note is they've scored 30 more points than they did in that last simulation. They finished runners-up in the FA Cup, knocked out in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Spurs. They finished above all those teams I mentioned last time. Villa down there in 7th yet again. And they were 4 points off Man City, 10 points off Liverpool, 13 points clear of Chelsea in 4th place. They got into 3rd place very early on in the season, and they just stayed there. Never went higher, never went lower, got into a comfortable position. If we just look at league form, so they started off 5-0 victory over Chelsea, 2-2, 2-2, 1-0 over Spurs, 3-1 over Brentford. They lost against Liverpool, drew with Norwich, lost against Man City, and then this run of form here from the 23rd of October where they beat Villa 3-0 all the way down to the last but one game of the season where they lost against Leicester 2-1. So they've only lost 3 games all season. They lost against Leicester, Man City and Liverpool, smashed by Man City, smashed by Liverpool, lost by the odd goal against Leicester late on in the season when it didn't really have a lot of bearing on the season. So only Liverpool lost as fewer games as what Arsenal did. 62 goal difference, was 3rd best in the league, way better than the teams below them. Chelsea, Man United there on 29. Liverpool had a plus 65. Man City had a plus 72. It just drew too many games really there. If you look at it, if you go through the league, 2 games drew up here, and they won a lot of games, but the odd draw just nipped in here against West Ham, against Burnley, double here against Chelsea and against Leeds. Some massive victories as well. I've just seen cropping up. 8-1 victory over Burnley, 7 against Watford, 6-1 over Newcastle, 5-3 over Wolves, 5-2 over Southampton. So it's provided more success than they've shown when we did the simulation with Greuther Firth, where they finished in 9th. They've been massively successful. So let's have a look. Carabao Cup, they went out in the 3rd round to Spurs after beating Luton in the 2nd round in their first game. Going down FA Cup, they beat Barnsley 7-1, beat Tottenham 2-1, beat Burnley 4-0, beat Leeds 4-1, beat Brighton 1-0 in the semi-final, and then lost 2-1 to Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup. No European competition for Arsenal this season, but they have got themselves back into the Champions League for the 2022-2023 season. In terms of the stats for the players for Arsenal, Lacazette getting 30 goals in all competitions, Martinelli 27, Emil Smith-Rowe with 17, those 3 all getting double figures, and for assists, Odegaard 18, Emil Smith-Rowe 13, Gabriel Martinelli 13, Lacazette 12, and Granit Xhaka getting 10. So they've turned on a massively good performances this season. Top player was Lacazette with 7.61, Odegaard getting a 7.42 as well. So we've ended up with a little bit of success. This formation, like I said, it seems to leave a lot of gaps in behind when we watched it in the match engine. But it seems to produce goals, and a lot of the defeats that are coming in are just odd defeats, odd goal defeats to certain teams. With Arsenal, only defeats to Man City, to Liverpool, to Chelsea, to Spurs and to Leicester throughout the whole season, and that was in 3 different competitions. So very impressive there. They've done a really good job. Like I said, I will leave a link down to this formation in the description down below if you want to give it a try yourself. It has been a bit of a roller coaster of a ride. Our first team ever to get relegated doing one of these simulations. which is disappointing, but it was going to come at some point. It's just come with this formation. If you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if there's any formations that you'd like me to try. We'll be back next week with the Josh Daly 5-3-2 underdog tactic. I asked him about it about a week or so back. He's happy for me to use that, so we're going to simulate that with a few teams around the continent and see how good of an underdog tactic it is. We're going to use it with some of the lowest teams in each league, and we're going to see how good it is. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.